So what do you think that this is coming from? I think that a lot of times I look at men and they talk about women and I take offense to it because I'm like, well, I'm not like that. You understand what I'm saying? But I don't date women. So it's obviously something you're experiencing that I don't see and I won't see because I'm not dating women. Just like you don't date men. So there are things that we experience or we've seen your parents may have experienced, and that's how it gets to trickle. Because like I said before, if you have both men, fathers, and mothers saying the same things to their daughters, why would they say that? Why would they believe that?
Because the reality of the matter is that they ain't shit themselves.
They
They
what?
that they ain't shit themselves. The reason Biggie wrote that line, I'm getting a lot of echo feedback, AP. I think that's you.
Oh, go ahead.
The reason why Biggie wrote that line was because he wasn't shit. He knows how he was moving. He knows how the men in his circle and who he was associated, how they moved. And sort of he had already a general premise about how most men in his vicinity move, right? So that message to his daughter was more about the men that he associate, people within your community, your cohort, right? Your neighbors' kids or whatever who grew up with the same mindset, this fractured mindset, etc. Those are the ones that I'm talking about. But he doesn't bring up anybody else outside of that lived experience. Just talking about a man because he knows him,
Sure.
he knows that he himself, he is tainted. But he also, what he doesn't do, or what most men sometimes don't do, they don't pass down the lesson. I'm telling you this because I was once that guy. I don't want you to date a man like me at this age because I know how I was. I know who I was. I was lost. I was destructive. I didn't care. This is how I treated women. This is how I talked. But it was only after some time that I grew and I matured and I found your mom, or then I had you, that my whole perspective in my world changed, right? There isn't that conversation about, I'm telling you not to deal with these men, or I'm gonna set you up for so you could be good, so you don't have to put up with the bullshit of these men because I was once one of these men, rather than say, I was once one of these men and I went through the evolution of growth, change, hardship, and then I became the father that I am to you. That is the part of the lesson or the part of the story that's never really talked about. It's more so that I'm gonna make sure you're good, so you, because these niggas ain't shit. Not knowing that himself, he fails to say, I was once a man who wasn't ain't shit.
Do you
Because
think that most men go through a phase where they ain't shit?
yes, most
Yep.
definitely.
Oh yeah.
So then you can see if most men, if you can agree that most men go through a phase where they ain't shit, the chances are women have experienced a man who ain't right. So are they supposed to just forget that they ain't and just roll with the punches? Like I'm not understanding what the are women. I think that what you guys fail to do. I don't necessarily think y'all think of women as human beings. Sometimes y'all just feel like we can just be like punching bags, take this, take, and it shouldn't affect you in any kind of way. Just keep taking it. You should be able to take it.
What I find to be extremely important. First, I agree with what Luis just said, but the second part is because I've had the conversation with my daughter already of the kind of man I used to be. We've had that conversation, which is what led to the conversation. Before you have to deal with some of the shit your mom went through, bring the man to me. Let me meet him. Let me have the conversations with this kid. So she, at this point in her life, and I hope she continues to do this, before any guy is her boyfriend, he has to meet me. He has to have conversation with me. Then her and I have a conversation, and then she makes a decision. She's yet so far to go against any decision that I've made, and according to her, I understand. I understand what the comeback and the talking point is, but according to her, if a guy wants to date her and refuses to meet me, she doesn't entertain it. She doesn't even talk to him anymore. So I think it's really, really important that we are a presence and present in our kids' lives so that we can train them the right way and they can, let's say, forego some of the foolishness that we dealt with or the kind of people that we used to be. I just wanted to go ahead and say that.
That is dope, AP.
That's a good answer.
And that's a really good response. You know, I kind of wish it's set up that way. You know, it's interesting you say that because there was an interesting conversation I had a couple of years ago. It was this Middle Eastern woman who was dating and she went through like these bad, terrible dating experiences. And me understanding, you know, having to go to school with a lot of different people from the Middle East and understanding the culture, I had brought up and asked her, like, I find it strange that you're having this kind of issue, considering I thought you would introduce these types of people to your family, your father, your uncles, your brother, right? Because they also have this sort of presence, and they as men know men, and sort of to kind of ingratiate your presence with the family, right? Because there's a custom, there's all these things happening. I had a sister that jumped in my back channels and tried to rip me a new one. She's like, black women don't need men to vet men for them and blah 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 and this and that. And I was like, well, I'm not saying that they do, but she brought up a specific anecdotal experience about terrible dating experiences, and I was curious to know why she has never introduced these men to her family to also vet them, considering that they're family and community niche based, right? And sort of like that, those are the kind of responses of pushback that sometimes people get. It's never to go against you one dating or stuff like that. It's just that today we just live in untraditional times, and unfortunately there are a lot of deceitful people out here in the world that don't necessarily have the best interest in you, and there's no better person than somebody who is part of your family to try to help you navigate that.
Did anybody else want to respond to that?
No, to Louis' point, I think I was telling a story a long time ago about my cousin at that wedding. So yeah, the men in the family will try and stand up for you if they have the ability to get involved. It's just when you hide stuff and you know what I'm saying, try and sneak and do stuff, you end up getting bit in the ass.